All right, this is for the podcast assignment in GarageBand tutorials. I love podcasts. I listen to them pretty much every day, and the quality of sound that comes from them is incredible, and it's a good way to share information. So I thought it'd be really cool for you to record a podcast, and it would be more focused on your ability to record your voice, but also to add music and sound effects that are appropriate. So let's look at the overall assignment itself. You will have an example of a podcast here, like a student made one. It's not great. It's okay. It's not because the student did poorly. It's just overall there are some issues with it. But whenever you turn in yours, it's going to be so good. I'm going to be using yours as an example. You also have some sound effect links here, but let's just talk about what it should look like. First, I would suggest you go listen to a podcast on your own. Most iPhones have a podcast app. iTunes has them. You can look up any genre that you like. There's sports podcasts. They talk about what's going on in that every week. They talk about music. They talk about art. Pretty much anything that you want to look for. I listen to a lot of gaming podcasts. I listen to a lot of politics. Those are just things I'm interested in. Uh, Everyone has a podcast nowadays, so there's a lot available for you. So your assignment, you're going to go to GarageBand. You're going to create a podcast. So I would go over to voice, probably. I think that's probably your best bet. So it already has these different vocal things set up for you to work with. You can choose which one you like, and then you would delete the track that you don't like. Your podcast can be about anything you want. It's just you talking about a subject that you're interested in. You can work with one person if you like, so it can be a two-person conversation thing. It should be that it's a conversation between two people about an interest, but they both need to be talking towards an audience. So you need to be speaking as a source of authority. I'm looking for 2 minutes, 3 minutes in length. You need to have a script. Write your script here. Type out, segment one, and you would talk about your topic there. So this week in zoo news, whatever. If you're like talking about what zoos are doing or something, I don't know. That was a terrible example. Then you would have a commercial, maybe. If I can spell commercial, that feels better, but it's probably not. Then segment two, this would be probably about animal facts. And then segment three, it could be about what's coming up in animal movies. So movies that feature animals. So I don't know. This sounds like a terrible podcast. I probably wouldn't listen to it just because of the content. But you need to have various segments. You need to record. You're still talking, obviously. You're going to have an introduction that has music. So this week, and then you need to have music that kind of comes in and out, some sound effects. And the commercial, by the way, doesn't have to be like a recorded commercial. You can just mention that you have a sponsor. And then have an ending at the very end. So listen to some examples. Come up with an informational podcast. This is a lot. Podcasting is a lot of fun. It could be you just telling stories from your past or things that happened to you. And really, what I'm focused on is your ability to edit down the sounds, to talk within a scripted amount of time, and have variety, and while creating music that fits in the backdrop and works well with someone's voice. You're going to turn in this whole project, by the way. I'd like to have the GarageBand file so I can see your script. That would be nice.